Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into the microphone. Why? Well, just because I can, and I continue with Divinity Dragon Commander. And damn it, I shouldn't have... Okay, I'll build another cavern here. Okay, this is still neutral, so... Good, good. Okay, I think I should have enough mercenary cards to help me win the impending fights. Damn it. Okay, that should be hopefully enough to... Okay, my transport ships survived, which is the most. Medicine. Oh, so they did die.
Ah, Henry. How his vagaries amuse me. A woman that rejects him must therefore not be interested in men, so goes his logic. As if one can blame any woman romanced by that buffoon to abstain from men forever.
You know I don't hold a high opinion of men in general, Commander. But Henry does go out of his way to reaffirm what some would call my prejudices. I'm glad Scarlet saw the light and kicked him out of her bed. Even a girl as frivolous as her can do infinitely better.
What the hell is the matter with Scarlet? Here we're having some extracurricular horizontal recreation, and suddenly she bails on me. I tell you, she must have knocked her head against the door and started liking girls all of a sudden. No woman denies herself my affections from one moment to the next.
So, Maybe she is gay. Or maybe she just doesn't like him. Although they seem to have quite a lot of respect for each other in the way they've been talking previously. I'm just buying everything. So why not? Ah, there she is.
Damn that loudmouth, Henry. I'll emasculate him with a pair of pincers if he doesn't hold his tongue. We've been having a bit of fun, you know. Casual-like, but now I told him that the fun's over, he's telling everyone I must be into girls all of a sudden because that's the only explanation for rejecting a true blue man like him. Filthy pig. How dare he? How? But... oh, fudge, what's the use? Why would I stand here and pretend to fool the dragon, the ruler of worlds? Never have I said this to anyone, Commander. But it is true. I am a lesbian. There. The die has been cast.
Well,
when I was 16, you see,
no problem with that.
I first fell in love with another girl. But when my parents found out, they were furious. Threatened to disown me and sent me to military school. They vowed that if I'd show any sign of being attracted to another girl ever again, they'd never more show me kindness or affection. That is the secret I've lived with ever since. I force myself to sleep with men, but it is all a farce. A hollow way of ever so shallowly satisfying hidden, unacknowledged needs. I was forced to live a life of lies, and believe me, I can handle it, but I can't bear to have my real nature dangled in front of me as a means of mockery.
Well, your secret is safe with me, and for what it's worth, I do hope you'll find happiness one way or another.
Thank you, Commander. To have your support means a great deal to me. More than you can imagine. Perhaps one day I'll be free. Free to be who I am. We'll see.
Anything to say?
Step by step, you bring us closer to our goal. An empire united in peace.
Nothing new then. Okay, this is neutral, so should be able to capture that with just a random troop. I think I must stockpile some gold before proceeding with my conquest. So I'll end the turn for now, although any particular useful card. Army happy with the Devastator's upgraded engine will be able to retreat a lot quicker.
I've noticed a peculiar change in Scarlet, Commander. She seems happier somehow, less prone to take rash decisions in combat. She's almost of value to us. Wouldn't that be a treat?
I know Scarlet shared something with you, Commander. Something deeply personal, and it's not hard for me to guess what that something was. It gladdens me to see that you have treated her with respect. So very unmanly of you. That's a compliment, by the way.
Is gladdens even a word?
Commander, it would seem some of my fellow dwarves have been corrupted by obscene elven habits. They call themselves nudists and demand the demented right to walk about stark naked on sections of beach or park grounds. I tell you, they've gone completely bonkers. You'll not allow for such practices, will you, Commander?
Well, as long as it is on segmented sections of beaches that are in parks that are sufficiently regarded, with signs and whatnot denoting it as a nudist area, then I don't see any problem with it. If you don't want to see naked people, you just don't enter the particular area. Now, I would understand the indignation if they were walking naked in public, but if it's just a designated nudist beach or something, then I don't have any problem with it. Obviously, the undead will have a problem with it.
Somehow I think you know what I'm about to say, Commander, but by golly, nakedness is a sin. Yes, indeed, the Seven forbid it. People should hide their shame, not strut about for all to see. Good heavens, well, the mere thought is repulsive.
The body is a miracle of nature, Commander. And there is something quite liberating about languishing a few hours away in the open air, devoid of all fabric. If those dwarves Falstaff mentions have come to realize this, why not give them a spot here and there where they may indulge in their newfound pastime?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it's just a particular spot, then if you don't want to see it, then just don't visit it. I don't see any problem in there.
I don't quite see the problem here, Commander. After all, these dwarves are not asking for the right to appear nude anywhere in public. Let them have their beach, I say, properly marked and fenced. Long as I don't have to look on, I'm perfectly happy to let people do as they please.
We imps don't wear anything at all until we reach puberty, Commander.
Oh.
Then dress only to avoid...
That's interesting.
awkwardness. Nude beaches? Sounds like a capital idea. Sit back and watch the girls play jump ball.
Okay, so I will allow nudism.
Commander, I'm not a prude, but I'm not a pervert either. Imagine a fat old dwarf like me, naked on a beach. What if a child should see? They'll be scarred for life.
Well then, just don't take your children to a nudist beach.
By partaking in these vile rituals, such as witches practicing during their moonlit Sabbaths, these dwarves taint themselves in the eyes of the Seven forever, Commander. You are allowing them to throw themselves into the reaches of hell. You are doing a demon's task.
I'm glad you're keeping an open mind, Commander. If more dwarves would enjoy naturalism in nature, perhaps they wouldn't be so keen on destroying so much of God's green earth around them.
Cordial of you to let these nudist dwarves have their day in the sun, despite their own councilor's wishes, Commander. To be sure, they'll have the appearance of so many beached whales, but if they don't care, why should I?
Ha! Lovely. It might be a bit awkward when elves and imps mingle, though. The height difference puts things in a rather weird perspective.
Don't worry, Commander. I didn't breathe another word about Scarlet and her ways. It's a relief to know I was right all along, though. When a woman says no to me, we all know what that means. Not interested in men. Period.
Well, I didn't tell him so, did she?
When I see your face, it is like a beacon of light, Commander. Such is the relief that I have a person to confide in, that it feels as if I have been pushing a boulder uphill all my life, and that now I can finally let it go. Watch it tumble downhill and out of sight. Glory be to the Emperor whom I may call my friend.
I think I'll need one more war factory on this side of the continent. find some more. Transport ships. I didn't exit my troops from the transport ships. It's a pity because it wasted me a turn. Undead goes blind at the sight of naked dwarves.
Hell's bells, Commander. I knew something would go awry as soon as I saw that charlatan shaman aboard the ship. God's eye thee sternly if you don't do your utmost to save the souls of my kin. Those unfortunates that had to suffer impish infamy at the hands of that sham simpleton.
Oh, my heart and soul, how I have prayed for your swift return. Never should I have allowed desperation to trump circumspection. I am entirely to blame for what has happened. The imp's potion. Seven bless us. One might as well apply magma to alleviate sunburn. My wretched brethren. They drank the shamanic brew, presuming it to be tea, not a herald
so
of
she
decay.
did trick them.
Afore my very eyes, their once proud frames toppled in upon themselves and turned to powder upon the barren floor. Only their souls remain, hovering helplessly upon capricious currents like ephemeral jewels evoked from stardust. Long as these remain, however, their existence upon our earthly plane has yet to end, and they may perchance be given refuge. Sir Yorick demands the provision of living vessels. But Mr. Trinculo swears employing the technology of his people is the more sensible course to steer.
Now, replacing condemned prisoners' brains with undead souls seems like a bit of a stretch, although if they've been condemned to death, then I guess the manner isn't that important. But I think constructing like a golem or something, as long as the imps can do it, is a better idea, because to be honest, it seems kind of cool even to, if it is possible to transfer a soul into a mechanical construct, then you basically are immortal without having to look like a freaking zombie. So, if machinery can save them, all the better.
Though I have come to dread the ramifications induced by impish machinations, I must concede to your wishes when confronted with your will and wisdom.
Well, I hope they won't screw it the second time.
This is a tad embarrassing, Commander. Never have I known any of Bunglebrew's grogs to turn queer all of a sudden. Lady Ophelia must have prepared it wrong or something. That really is the only explanation.
Bloody good show, Commander. We kicked butt today, and firmly too.
Stand in the path of a dragon knight and you'll be obliterated. Once more, this has been spectacularly proven.
Okay, we'll build a war factory here. The cards. It seems I must consolidate my power for some time before proceeding.
I've been meaning to thank you, Commander, for acting upon Catherine's request. My new wedges please me in more ways than one. She has a knack for such issues, and though she's rather bellicose in expressing them, I hope you'll heed them all the same.
By the Seven, such heresy that hellcat of a Catherine spouts. Championing the right of our women to vote is sacrilege, pure and simple. They'd beat her and put her behind bars where I come from.
Yeah, they are like sort of hardcore religious fundamentalists, more so maybe even guided towards Islam with the headdress and whatever. And obviously nowadays it's mostly Islamic countries under Sharia law that can put up some such you know, severe barbaric notions. So yeah, I would very much like to help the women get the vote.
There's no more expensive a commodity than a woman, Commander. And now you've increased their salaries as well. My stomach turns when I eye the royal coffers empty at such a rate. Catherine be damned. Give her a finger and she'll take the whole hand. Well, I got a finger to give her. God's darn it.
Just a little while ago, Commander, you broke a lance for women aboard this ship. And now I need you to break another of a far more serious, shocking, and I fear resilient kind. I'm talking of an injustice that could only have gone by unhindered in a land under the greasy thumb of a man as oblivious to the plight of his mothers, sisters, and lovers as the worm is to the vast world around it. It is my fondest hope that you shall prove to be a worm, not a worm, by uprooting one of the many, but perhaps most glaring crimes against womankind that is institutionalized among the undead. A blight upon Rivellon. That is their ill-called civilization, led by old farts, dry of bone and dry of spirit, that say females must be subservient because the divines decree it so. Rot! They put whatever words will secure their pathetic hold to despotic hegemony in the Seven's mouths. But the vote, Commander, can change everything. Undead women can be candidates for government, but they themselves aren't allowed to vote, and therefore never get elected.
Oh, that's weird. Like, I would think they wouldn't even be allowed to run, but what she says is also makes sense. Like, probably nobody ever votes for them, and they can taunt the prospect of the possibility of them running as a, you know, them being moderate or something.
You then shall either undo this gross travesty, this ignominious perversion, or by refusal admit you two are nothing but a barren weed, afraid to be plucked, ridiculed, and cast aside by willful women, just like those skeletal cowards.
Yorick will scream bloody murder, but his people are perpetuating an injustice that must be addressed, and the women will have the vote.
The least one can do for them. Better late than never, wouldn't you say, Commander?
Yes, Commander.
Commander?
Okay, I can... As I said, I'm just buying all the upgrades because I hope they are giving me some advantage even in auto resolve, although I'm not really sure of that. Okay, we'll leave those guarding the island. Damn it, I lost one of my transport ships with some units inside, I think. Okay, I'll appoint a general, if only because I want to alleviate losses.
A bold move, Commander, to give undead women the vote, but an inspired one as well. To be pulled from behind the cooking fires and cast into the maelstrom of office will be daunting for them, but I have every faith they'll do all right.
How dare you, Commander, to interfere with the will of the gods? Now it is women, emotional, irrational, vain, who will decide upon matters of state. We'll be a laughingstock, downtrodden by the Seven, all because of you.
And what's pretty horrifying is that he sounds like a caricature, but in all honesty, there are still countries on Earth, in reality, which run like pretty much exactly the same. It's pretty, like, it's almost surreal to me. But also, as I said, quite horrifying.
We the lizards think that even though you fight to attain peace, strife is inevitable as long as monarchs occupy the throne. Sooner or later, they become dictatorial and go to war on a whim. Our end goal is to make Rivlon a republic. But first, we want to see if the majority of all the civilized races truly wants this. Which is why I'm asking for your permission to hold a referendum. Do you want a government that is despotic or democratic in nature? That is the question we shall ask.
Yeah, sure, why not? Like, obviously I am not the biggest fan of monarchy. It seems to be an outdated system. Although, you know, this is a fantasy universe, so they have a bit of a different perspective on that. But if, like, normally I don't have problems with there being kings and whatever, and empires in fantasy stories because it's par for the course, but if in this universe they realize that there is another way, then surely why not?
All this talk about a republic is criminal, Commander. It would upset the gods' divine order. Deny the lizard. Deny her firmly.
Even though we elves do think people are basically equal to one another, we nevertheless have a deep reverence for the age-old noble bloodlines from which the greatest of our kin descend without fail.
That's weird
And
that
look
he
at
is opposed to that.
Bees have a queen, do they not? No republic there? No. I don't think this referendum should be held.
But bees are not sentient, are they?
Commander, if you're going to go about asking the common folk for their opinion on matters of state, we'll end up with clowns in the courtroom, candy dispensers instead of taxmen, and the total collapse of a workable government before you can say free gilded carriages for everyone is actually not a very good idea. Referendum? Rubbish.
Imps are notoriously fickle, Commander. We change our minds each time the wind changes direction. No, best to have one leader to decide what's what. You're not doing too bad a job, so why hold a referendum about resignation, eh?
Well, because it's a matter of principle, so I will allow a referendum on republicanism. I don't think that's the way you say it, but whatever. Especially because it's only a referendum, it's not binding.
This is but a first step, Commander, and though you can still dismiss the referendum's findings if they prove to be not of your liking, I thank you for allowing us to go ahead nonetheless. Very few monarchs would have done so.
You are giving the populace a chance to corrupt itself, Commander. The Divine Order is at stake. 7 protect us.
My opinion is that you'll come to regret this decision, Commander. Let us await the results. But because of the very way Prosper's question is phrased, I think I can predict the outcome.
Yeah, that is a valid point. Like, the question itself is weighted because she used the word despotic, which has a firm negative connotation. She should have worded it, do you want a, like a, you know, a dynastical monarchy or a republic or something. But in principle I am still in favor of switching to a republic setting, so...
Well then, as for the clowns in the throne room, there's one already for your making a fool of yourself, Commander. People might vote pro all this democracy rot. Then where will you be?
Bloody hell. I hope you know what you're doing, Commander. My answer will read despotic, but I wonder how many more of those there will be.
Yeah, like, yeah, that's true. Like, the question wasn't the best, but so maybe I should have refused on the grounds of, you know, the question being wrongly formulated, but still.
What a splendid victory that was. Your strategic insight almost rivals my own.
The battle is lost and won, Commander. Victory and defeat make for incestuous lovers after the undead elections. The women triumphed, swept aside their toothless tyrants wielding the brooms they were forced to sweep the floors with. Alas, that they do so very little with what they have been given, being as slavishly devoted to the divines as their earthly enslavers before them. But who knows? Change may yet come, and if it does, you will have been its instigator.
Ah, to be in the thick of battle. With you calling the shots, it's a joyride rather than a jeopardy.
Okay, that should be enough to conquer this. Damn it, I can only... When you recruit one unit here, might as well go for the bomber balloon. I'm not sure if just because it's the most expensive, it's also best. Ah, damn it. Okay, that's... Huh? Emperor says he's unfit to rule.
Oh, my sky and clouds! May the Seven forgive me if I ever spoke ill of imps, for they are truly expert engineers, whose peerless blend of wonder and whimsy begets the gains of genius. Served with souls, their apparatus have become sentient and, once science permits, shall stride, function and speak with a subtle grace quite equal to that of the living. Trinculo assures me a skeleton of precious metals can be constructed, wherein my soul may be housed.
Now, obviously a living body would be better, but you would have to find someone to trade bodies with, and I doubt you'd be able to find someone who could do it voluntarily, because, like, obviously he could or she could if she herself was dying, but what's the point then? You want a healthy body, so... yes, tell Trinculo to proceed. After all, a mechanic body is better than a brittle bone that's going to turn to dust before long.
So I shall, my love. Imagine, Soon I may be a creature of eternity, unburdened by the shackles of sickness and atrophy, yours long as the dragon lives.
Sometimes I think those ruddy imps will stop at nothing. But if their designs are this revolutionary, why should they? If they can make machines think for themselves, imagine the mining possibilities. No mere miners to pay or bury. Excavation going on round the clock. The profit. Oh, the profit.
Thundering torpedoes. What miracles we imps invent with staggering regularity. I surprise myself sometimes, Commander. I really do. Soul-powered constructs, think on it. Intelligent cannons, living gunships. I could become one. Brilliant.
Curse Drinkulo and every single simpleton of his ludicrous species. The madmen are arranging a marriage most grotesque and shamefully aberrant. A perverted bond between the essence of nature and the cold indifference of cogs, wheels, and gears. It is a desecration of the cosmos, a violation of everything we elves hold dear.
I guess it's a matter of transhumanism as much as regular cybernetic advancements are in the real world, but it's only been sort of swapped with more magic. Ah, this is neutral and it has... great. Must have it. I'm not sure if I have enough for the assault on their capital, but I think I should have. Yeah, 6 troopers here. Yeah, I also have some mercenary cards, just in case. I'll give it a try. Damn it, I didn't want to do that. That didn't quite. Have any more mercenaries? Okay, that should be maybe enough to win.
Commander, it has come to my attention an elven archduke is crossing the line in his capacity as witch hunter. Scarlet knows all the details and insisted she'd be the one to inform you. Please take swift action. for it would be a terrible sin to let him persist an instant longer.
Ah, esteemed Commander. You know, all this is an awful bore, but it would seem some unsavory truths are being spread about a fine elven youth called Narcosim. There's nothing to them, of course, but we'd like to avoid all scandal, even if in the end said scandal would be no more than a slanderous lie. To that end, I have been bid by several of the richest of my kin to offer you a substantial gift of gold. Indeed, it is our pleasure to do so, and we hope it may sway you not to pay any attention whatsoever to the falsehoods attributed to Archduke Narcosim. There. You have but to accept, and everything shall be settled.
Yeah, that doesn't seem suspicious in the slightest, does it?
What a splendid victory that was. Your strategic insight almost rivals my own.
Commander, I have an urgent request that, in light of my recent disclosure to you of a personal nature, will, I'm sure, not fall on deaf ears. Prospera has received anonymous letters about an elf archduke by the name of Narcosim. You may have heard of him as a hunter of necromancers, but there is other prey he stalks. He's executing innocents in ways so horrible as to defy description. Whether they be men, women, elves, lizards, whatever. If they're gay, Commander, factually merely suspected to be or pointed out by wicked souls, they are quickly denounced as practitioners of forbidden magic and burned alive, boiled alive, impaled, quartered, whatever takes his sick fancy.
Wow, that's quite a development, especially from an elf.
No matter how evil his deeds, this witch hunter enjoys the protection of elven nobility, his family being one of the oldest and most respected in the realm. Already, Oberon is gathering a great sum of money to buy your blindness to his deeds. I beg you, Commander, do not take him up on his offer.
Yeah, Oberon can keep his blood-stained money. The guy is a scum and shall be arrested forthwith.
Oh, it's such a relief to hear you speak those words. I couldn't sleep for hearing the screams of his victims echoing in my mind, knowing full well he'd do the same to me. May the dungeon heel rotten boast a bored torture master hankering for a spot of practice.
Okay. Buy the remaining upgrades from this level. And actually a very good moment to end the episode, so see you in the next one. Bye.